Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey to publication. I'm Jamie Hirschberger. I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Christina Catane, and I write Christian fantasy.
I'm Rhonda Hagerman, and I write fiction and nonfiction with my partner, Dee Dee Bowman.
All righty. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody listening live. We have a great live chat happening. If you guys don't know about it, you should head over to YouTube and participate in that. But thank you to everybody listening, watching on any of the other platforms where we make the podcast available. If you like what you see, remember to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. We also have a newsletter that goes out to remind you when we're going to be going live. If you go to our website, christianindywriters.net, you can sign up to stay informed. Okay, so every week, the first thing we do is go around the virtual table to find out what's up with everybody, what they've been doing since the last time we were together. But first, let's say good morning. Lots of people in the chat. Good morning to Piper and to Gigi. And we got some good news from Teresa. She had to jet out of here early. Still wanted to give her a little shout out because she's got some offers on her house. Oh, she says she loves and misses us all and hopes she can get back to her normal routine soon. We hope so too. All right. We have a great active live chat. So what's up with you this week, Jen?
Well, I have to do this for my what's up so that I don't have any questions later, but I've been painting. And in case you didn't know, exterior paint does not come off of your skin easily. Like I can't get it off. So we've been building a duck coop and a chicken coop, working on it. It is like the project that never ends. No, my house is the project that never ends. This is like the sequel. But that's what I've been doing all week when I wasn't writing, was trying to paint and try to get things around. But it's coming together, and so it's been fun. But it's gonna be raining for a long time now here in Michigan. Like it looks like if you look at the forecast, it's nothing but rain for like looks like a week. So maybe that means I'll get to do some things indoors. So
all right. Yeah. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, actually, to make yourself something really cute for your little new livestock. How many do you have?
Well, we have 4 ducks, and now we're up to 13 chickens because we got some roosters. Okay, I guess that should be part of my what's up too. Is for Father's Day. That's what my husband wanted, was roosters, and I'm like, okay. And we went to. Luckily, Rhonda had told me that there was a hatchery in a town close to us that her daughter had gotten her chicks from. So we went over there, and we got one. It's called a maroon something Faverel or something like that. And then they had another one that was very rare, or kind of rare in Michigan. It is a French blue. It's their Marron, a French blue Marron, and they're beautiful. They're not beautiful now. Chicks are not always as pretty as they're gonna end up being. So I'm like, yeah, but we can't have 2 roosters. The guy's like, you can totally have 2 roosters. And I'm like, oh, my husband's like, we're getting 2 roosters. Okay. So now we have a lot of livestock, wildlife. Not wildlife. So we're becoming farmers right before your eyes.
I just want to know if he maybe doesn't feel so outnumbered now.
Maybe. Between him and Toby, that was it. The rest of our property was full of women, so that's a good point.
Well, that's brings us to you, Bambina. What's up for this week?
Well, I've just been plugging along, and I got some little tomatoes growing on my tomato plants, and I had to move out of my office for my son. He's staying with us for a little bit, so I'm in my room with my banner so you don't see my messy room. And I'm looking forward to going away for the 4th of July weekend with my granddaughter and my husband. We're going to go out to the campground.
Yay.
I love that.
It's a great transition for us to remember to tell everybody that we are not having a podcast next weekend.
Right.
We all have we're going to spend time with family. We encourage you, if you're in the United States, to spend time with family, even if you're not. But this is a holiday weekend next weekend for us in the States here. So.
Yes, so no podcast July 2nd, 2021. And Bambina, it's really neat that you have that banner. And we didn't think of that usage in particular when we talked about the merch episode that we have purchased the merch. And we
Right.
talked about how Christina got a really good deal on that banner too. So if y'all need a screen to put behind you for your podcast, go look up that Perch the Merch episode and find out how you can get one too, right? All right. What's up with you this week? Oh, I'll do mine next, Rhonda. How about that? I just wanted to share with everybody this picture that my daughter made in January of 2010. And I tell my husband, if there's ever a fire, I want my laptop, my guitar, and this picture. Everything else can go. Look at this. Is this not the most precious thing you ever did see in your whole life?
Yes.
Look at the baby. Zachary was a little baby, and there she is, and there's her sister, and she pointed out to me how we're all holding hands. She had to make everybody's arms really super long so that we could all be holding hands. Anyway,
That is so adorable.
sweet.
I just wanted to share that because, of course, What's Up time is show and tell for me because I'm 5.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're 5. I love that. That is adorable.
All right. And finally, last but not least, Rhonda, what's up with you this week?
What's up with me? Okay, so I said last week that I was going to try to edit 3 scenes per day, and I haven't reached that goal every day, but I have done more editing than I would have if I hadn't had that goal.
Yay!
And so this week coming up, I think I will be able to get at that 3 scene mark. So I'm really excited about that. But the other really important thing is someone finally put a fishing pole in my hand, and I caught my first rock bass, and it was 6 ounces. 6
Wow.
ounces. So it was like this
Wow.
big, but it was
I was
so
6 ounces.
She went like this, and then
I know,
she
and
said 6
then 6
ounces.
ounces, and both Tina and I, who do have fish, were like,
but it was so pretty.
oh.
And so anyway, I totally get the whole fishing thing now. So even though it's going to be raining this week, I'll be doing
That was a
more.
true fish story, and every time you tell it, it's going to get bigger.
Yeah. Yes.
6 ounces.
Yeah.
Rhonda, you're not supposed to let a little rain scare you off. You're supposed to go fishing in the rain. That's good for
Oh,
fishing.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are. We are
Yes.
definitely going to do that.
Oh, good
Yeah.
for you. That's so exciting. How fun. How
Yeah.
fun. The first bite, now you're hooked like the fish.
Yes, absolutely. I get all of the analogies now.
And you
In
get
the
to get
world.
out. Yeah, you get to get out into nature also and things like. Did you have worms?
And leeches.
Oh,
Leeches are the best.
Well, the fish sure like them. I'm not a
Yeah.
huge fan.
Jen and I are both making the exact same face. It's hilarious. All right.
If you move fast enough, they can't latch on.
Ah,
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good advice.
I'm a
Thank
goner.
You just
It-
got to get them on the hook, and then they won't bite you.
Ah,
When you're done fishing,
Okay.
if you have any worms left over, you can stop by. My chickens love them. It's
All right.
hilarious to watch them fight over them. It's-
Okay, that'll be a good variety for them.
nice treat.
All right, we
Yeah.
got some chat going on too as
Ooh.
well.
All right,
Gigi.
Gigi's. Yeah, she's got a what's up. She's the cutest bear making itself a home in her neighborhood. It was in my side yard, and another neighbor caught it on camera in their front porch. A bear. Wow.
I don't know. I'd be reacting the same way that Gigi.
I
is.
know.
I would know. Oh, cute. No, I'd be like bear. ah!
Gigi,
must-
you'll have to remind us where you live. I'm trying to picture it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
if we lived up in Alaska, I don't think a bear would be something like they're probably pretty big up there. I would imagine.
Yeah.
I guess
Well, it
baby
depends on
bear.
what kind of bear it is.
True.
Well, she must live near some woods.
I have some bear stories I could tell.
Piper
Ooh.
says she's working on her backstory of a character, but decided she doesn't love the method she's using with the backstory stuff, so it's not actually going into the book. Good for you. I mean, you don't have to use everything that you write.
Yeah,
Very
and
true.
it's good to know what you can tolerate.
Oh, and Gigi says she lives in Virginia, so mystery solved there. Maria says it's nice to catch up after a couple weeks. That's right. Yes,
I miss
well,
you, Maria.
she was busy anniversarying for part of it, I know. So congrats about that. And she's settling into her new digs. Not sure what's up with the rest of the chatters. Maybe they'll chime in there in a little bit. Did we get them all, Jen?
I think we got them all.
Awesome.
If
All
we
right.
missed you, my apologies.
Jen is awesome, though. She always keeps us up with that chat. I kind of space out on it. Okay, so here we are. Our topic today is establishing habits to promote creativity, the creative mindset. we are talking about this because we asked someone, a would-be writer, what would be the first thing that they would want advice about. And she said how to get into the right mindset. And that started us all chitting and chatting about the writer mindset. And we settled on talking about the creative mindset first and habits that can help you establish that creative mindset so you can get those words on paper. So who would like to talk what we mean when we say creative mindset? Tina, I think you had a good definition for us, maybe.
Well, yeah, I found this thing online that said having a creative mindset means living with a mindset that allows you to think, feel, and express yourself creatively and consistently. And so to me, it's just like getting my head in that creative space where I can create, whether it's, doodling or writing or whatever it is. That's creative,
Okay.
Right, because especially as indie authors, we have to have we play so many different roles, and it's sometimes hard to like transfer from one mindset to another. But like we really do have to get ourselves into the proper mindset creatively, because otherwise, like it just isn't going to work out for me, at least. That's what my experience is.
I think you're right, Jennifer. And it's interesting to think about it framed as habits, because initially I was resistant to think, well, how could a habit help you be creative? Because a habit seems so structured and rigid, and creativity seems so fluid and ethereal or something like that. But there is something to habits that can free you in a way that your imagination can then roam around, right? It's almost like anchoring you so that you're not that you'll come back.
It's like, if you think about it, like as an artist too, like my girls and I were just talking about this because we were watching some Bob Ross videos. Yes, we love watching old Bob Ross videos. And we were talking about how great would it be to have a she shed or some sort of like little building that could be just for painting, because it's oil painting is kind of messy. If we could just then we could just go out there, open up the doors and go in and be ready to paint. And so if you could think about it in that way, that like doing habits can maybe create for you some sort of like frame around or some sort of like cocoon.
Ritual.
Yeah, a ritual can all of a sudden you step into this practice, this habit, and then now you can be free with your creativity. That's kind of how I see it.
And I really like the end of this definition I found, where it's not just expressing yourself creatively, but also consistently. And so that's where the habits come in.
Right. We are really famous for saying, put your butt in the chair. Like we do. We say that all the time. And I still am a big believer of that, because part of it is making a habit so that you can be creative. So.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So we've talked about what we mean by a creative mindset. And then what we thought we would do is we'd go around and have a talk about what things we do to put ourselves into the creative mindset. So who wants to take it away with our first point of action that we can take?
I think I will, because I think that as we were talking about the things that we do, we kind of discovered that a lot of them fall under kind of like the heading of eliminate distractions. Again, if you think about walking into your studio, a place that you can go in and then shut the doors, that's kind of for me too. So one of the things I do to eliminate distractions is I have a regular writing schedule that I try to keep to. 8 o'clock every morning, even when I'm not live streaming, but I do live stream my writing time 3 days a week. 8 o'clock I come in and I have that set time to where even if I have to roll out of bed to get here, I know that that's when I am going to make myself be in the writing space, whether I mean physically or mentally. And that helps me because I know that I can't schedule anything during that time. My kids know that they can't schedule anything during that time. It is something that helps me to protect that part of my life where, okay, now I can go in during this time period, and that's when I'm going to be writing. And along with that, for me, means a writing spot. I have a couple of writing spots because sometimes I just don't want to be in my office, right? So there's other places that I would go to, but mostly this is where I write. When I walk in this room, it's mentally, I know what's going to happen in this room. This is the place that I sit down to write. And that helps me to be able to then be creative because I don't have other things distracting me.
Well, and I think you were really nailing hard on the ritualistic aspect of a lot of it, Jen, because human beings are ritualistic, and you get to a place where you just don't feel right if you have to drink your coffee out of the pink mug, if you always use the
Yes.
bone china mug, right? Like you just can't help it. You become like it becomes a part of who you are to actually partake in that particular activity. And so, yes, I think that really does help birth creativity to just know I am in the creative space now, right?
Right. Right. And I've
Mhm.
talked before about how a certain coffee creamer sometimes just clicks me into the writing space, because our first maybe couple of writing retreats we did, we had hazelnut, and I never drank hazelnut creamer, but we drank it there and it was delicious. And it just was like, it gets me in the mood because we were so regimented about our writing then, which I really appreciate that too. And also binary beat music, binaural. I always say the wrong thing. Binaural beat music. If you ever tune into my live streams, I play that like with beautiful scenery, but I play music that it's music, but in the background there's these beats that help your brain. And that really when I start hearing that, all of a sudden it's like my mind's like, okay, we're being creative right now. So that works for me too. So
I have similar things that I do, and also I realized that I'm very data responsive. So if I have data coming at me, my brain wants to respond to everything, and so I have to cut out all the data except for my writing.
it's a good point.
In order to get in that creative space. And so I have my regular writing schedule from 8 to 12. I have my spot. I also listen to music, especially now that my son's staying with me. Sometimes he's like around, and that because I need to be completely like alone with like none of that stuff coming in. And so I made a rule for myself. No social media until afternoon, after 12. And I also try my hardest not to get on the internet at all during that time. Sometimes I have to do a little research or something. But then like it's off again. And so for me, that's kind of my, I really need to eliminate distractions because I'm so susceptible to them.
Maria says that she finds having blocks in the day to write is really helpful, as well as having goals to tick off. So that I agree with that. Like not everybody is a goal ticking kind of person, but I am. So that would be something that would help me too. And then Piper says, I use certain music to write with. So especially if I'm stuck or feeling sluggish, I use the same music to kick my brain into writing. I actually need something with more upbeat than binaural. So that I have found some binaural that's upbeat, but yeah, I think it is a personality thing. I think that it's whatever you become used to. And maybe if I'd never gotten used to the binaural music on that the beginning of my writing journey, maybe that wouldn't be the same. But there is one YouTube video that for some reason the video part is all screwed up, but the music is still fine. It's an old one, and it was the original one that I used when we first went away. And when I'm really, really stuck, I go back to that one. And
I still have an OG track. I wonder if it's the same one, Jen, but it's the same tune that just puts me right back in the early days of Nano. If I just really want to get the words out. Yeah. And again, and I love that you just said that it's so individualistic, because we're going to kind of pivot away, because again, I said, when we started the episode, at first it was hard for me to get my mind around how can work habits help you be creative, right? And I realized it's a personality difference, because I tend to be creative in my spare time, and when I sit down to write, I'm working, right? So for me to be in my creative mindset, I do things like play the guitar. So, or I go and observe people in the outside world. Those are things that help for me to cultivate a creative mindset, because it really is what I call sausage grinder information. It all goes into the sausage grinder and comes out to my fingers, right? So for me to get into a creative mindset is more to just be more observant in the world and maybe pick up a creative hobby like the guitar.
Awesome. What about you, Brenda? Do you do anything similar to that?
Yeah, I need to do creative things too, but they need to be creative other than writing. So if I am feeling like I'm just stuck in the mud, then I'll just get my sketch pad out and just start sketching. And it doesn't even, sometimes I'll try to sketch out what I want the scene to look like. But then other times it's just doodling, like just running the pencil over the paper. It just somehow sparks something in my brain. And it's like I'm sort of looking at the story peripherally. And while I'm doing the sketching, I guess it's the only way I can really describe it. Another thing I do sometimes is sketching isn't what I want to do. I'll like do a word jumble or a word search or something. So I don't do writing exercises to get my creativity going again. I do other things that are creative, like Jamie's guitar playing. I noticed during our the retreat we just had, she would just stroll along with her little guitar, just being a little minstrel for us. And it was helpful for me too. I'm sure it was for you guys to hear that in the background.
Yeah, Jen, you were going to tickle your ivories a little bit there. Have you dusted off your piano? Because we had talked about how creating different kinds of art can help with other kinds of writer's block. Have you been able to do that yet?
I did try doing that, but I think I've discovered, as we've been talking about right here, is that like since we're all individual, like it does not actually motivate me to write or does not unlock creative things writing wise for me because of my personality. I think when I sit down to play, then all I want to do is like work on improving that. So I pivot and I don't want to pivot. So like that has to be something completely different.
Yeah.
So again, it's a personality thing. And there was something up here in the chat I want to talk about. I also, Piper says I also use Teresa or Jen's YouTube streams, or I do Zoom office with camera to make myself sit and write. That's a good point. That wasn't the one I was looking for. Here. Piper says, I wonder if genre makes a difference for music taste. Jen writes romance, so soothing music would be fine, but shaped for kidnappers don't write so well to soothing background sounds. Maybe it may just be a personality thing too, because I do have like dramatic scenes and things that happen fast paced and stuff in my novels. But and I write with the same music at that point. Look, honestly, it starts to become just the background. Like I don't even notice the music after I really get into that creative space. I think it's just more about activating my mind. And BB says, good examples of Pavlov's conditioning.
Yes,
true. That's very true. I agree.
I write to either Mozart or Beethoven or something like that, because like if you pay attention during movies, there's always music in the background that you probably don't really even notice it, but it's there. And during like the exciting moments in a movie, like the score, the beat and the tempo of the score like ramps up. And then during the more gentle times of the movie, it'll be like gentle music. And so but you can find all of that in those classical, like I just put on a Beethoven or a Mozart, like the whole album on Spotify. And since I'm writing in Alaska that has like these crazy beautiful vistas in the background and then there's action happening, I can find like those moments in the music all the time. So
an interesting experiment an artist friend that I had in Paducah, Kentucky did was she would have children come in and she would put the classical music on and watch what they painted based on the movements to see if their strokes got more aggressive when the tempo picked up, for example. It was really fascinating to watch, to Tina's point. But what's interesting about the binaural that Jen is talking about, I don't even know if I'm saying it right, is like Jen said, the purpose of it is not because it's great music. Like the purpose of it is for, hacking your brain or something. So y'all should really just check out kind of the science of it, because it's not to like really like, oh, this music is so great. Like Jen and I are not into, so groovy when we listen to it. But we do, because like I totally agree. If I want, dun, da, 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 if I'm going into battle, right? I don't want, do, 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 do. Yeah, we all agree, I think. Right. So what's in the chat there, Jen?
Maria says, I also really love handwriting. I've started a new career idea and really been enjoying going back to a notebook. Unlocks a different part of my brain. I think I've said that all along. So
it does.
Maybe that's the same thing that Jamie experiences with the guitar or Rhonda experiences with sketching. When I'm really blocked, I pull out pencil and paper and I sit down and I start writing that way. Like, so for me, I can't do a different art, but I can do the same art, but doing it more tactily, I guess. Like with so I agree. It's 100% me. Yes.
It does activate a different part of your brain. And there's a study out there that proves it. And if you Google that, you'll find it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Piper says, Tina, yes, I write to instrumental music, classical or movie gaming soundtracks.
Gaming soundtracks is perfect for a zombie kidnapping plot line. I love that. Yes, really anxious.
Yeah.
Lots of running. All right. So, do you think? Oh wait, I gotta look at my outline.
Tina, did you cover the things you want? We talked about.
Oh no, there's some things here on the outline. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a whole system that I have created recently, and it took my word per day count from about 600 to 1,000 a day to upwards to almost 3,000 a day. So it totally just changed everything for me. And so what I do is I have these scene cards that I develop before I write a scene. So the absolutely last thing I do before I go to bed at night is look at my scene card of the scene I want to work on the next morning. And I go over it and then I go to bed. So that's what's in my mind when I fall asleep. And then I write first thing in the morning. I already talked about that. I do get up and check my blood sugar and eat my breakfast. But I don't check my email. I don't do anything else until after my writing time is over. And so sometimes, I've gone to bed at night looking at this scene card and thinking, I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue what this is going to look like. And gone to bed and woke up and it was just there. So
That's
it's
amazing.
like my brain was working in my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really incredible. So also one thing I experienced is on Memorial Day, I decided to take the day off and just read a really good fantasy book. I picked up Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. And I think I read 2 of the books in the series on that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm a very fast reader. So I got up the next day and all these ideas, they were just popping everywhere, just like popcorn. And I had to open a document and start putting them down because they had nothing to do with what I was actually writing that day. And so reading a really well written book in the genre that I'm writing in, for me, just opens up my creativity, or watching a movie that's very, I want to call it an ideation movie. So very out there, with great, twisty ideas that people haven't thought of before. Those kind of movies will get me going. Reading books or listening to podcasts about writing can often get my creativity going. But my number one thing that I have to do, and I've started counting it as working. So if it's between 8 and 12 and I get my fingers on the keyboard and there's just nothing there, I literally take my fingers off the keyboard, close my eyes, and just start daydreaming the scene. And so I would like to question the premise of you cannot edit a blank page, because I do it all the time. I will daydream the scene and then I'll look at what I just did and say, no, and I'll start over. And I'll have 4 or 5 different daydreams before I actually sit down to write what I decided on in my daydreaming process. And so not everybody has that need for that, but I do. I have to daydream, and my writing suffers when I don't do the daydreaming. If I just try to write without it, there's you can look at it and it looks like 2 different writers.
But I think that's a good example of knowing who you are as a creative, right? You've kind of studied who you are. You looked at your Clifton strengths. We had an episode weeks ago with Becca Syme talking about Clifton strengths for writing groups. And so you know who you are as a writer. So when everyone else watches and listens to this podcast, this episode, you just have to learn to know who you are as a creative. So we're just giving you some examples for you to try out. And it may not all work for you, but you can use these ideas to find who you are and to help you get into the right mindset. Because look at what Gigi says. She says, I'm motivated by nature. My tunes are birdsong. And she's laughing about it, but who else in our group does that relate to?
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Jamie Hirschberger right up there. J.R. Nichols was for sure that person too. So knowing who, and Jamie knows this, to get out into nature, that really helps to motivate her. So
And I think that my biggest piece of advice would be sit down and make a list. Write down all the times when you have been super creative and try to figure out what it was. What were you doing? What specifically brought up that creativity that you were doing in your life? And you'll start to see patterns when you start doing that. And then you'll know what your thing is that causes your creativity to just go onto superhero mode.
Agree. I mean, because the very last point on our outline is know who you are as a creative, just like Jen said. And it's going to be very individualized, what will spark the creativity. But that is why all of our writing sprints are all different every week, right? Is because we are all special individual people. And it's a creative mindset is also, I think, carried over into the way you live. It's interesting because I've been hearing a lot versus a creative mindset versus a competitive one. And a competitive mindset means I better hurry up and hoard up all the readers for myself, everyone. And a creative mindset is there's room in the world for everybody's story and everybody's book. And when you shift to a creative mindset as opposed to a competitive one, even with yourself, you can start to believe that you're a creator and you're not competing with yourself to, go, achieve, drive. Just be creative and just grow and blossom in the way that, life is forever growing and blossoming.
Unless you're a number one achiever, then go for it.
You do you, boo. All right. So are we ready to move on to everybody's favorite part, or do we have more to say about cultivating creativity through habits?
I am ready for.
I'm ready too.
Shooting of the
All
bags.
right. Well, Rhonda didn't say anything, so I'm going to make her go first.
Oh,
I always make Jen go first, but I'm going to pick Rhonda today. Rhonda, what was our sprint prompt?
Our sprint prompt was 5 words today, and they were script, handle, cliff diving, quit, and cruise. And I forgot that I was supposed to be using those, so I think I got one in. And
It's the best.
Okay. And I always try to get every single one in. So that was weird. But someone told me a story this week, and I was totally fascinated by the way they told the story. Because basically it was a 4-hour incident told in 3 sentences, pretty much. And it was the setup, the inciting incident, and the conclusion.
Wow.
And so I tried to recreate that a little bit, but so I don't usually do my sprints like this, but I outlined each paragraph. So last paragraph is just going to be the outline part of it because I didn't get through it, but I'll read you what I have so far.
Fun. Okay.
All right. I definitely finish this though. All right.
Oh, wait, before we go any further, just a reminder to everybody, we don't take any time to edit these pieces before we read them to you live on the air. So we only give positive and encouraging feedback here. So go ahead, Rhonda.
Okay. I'm also curious to find out what you think about the narration. Okay. All right. There was Timmy standing at the base of the new pool ladder. The warnings thrown about by the adults and one extra nosy big sister fell on deaf ears, but they were the reason he hesitated there on the ground. Timmy didn't usually pay attention to the fears that the adults tried to scare him off with. His stunts were too amazing to be stifled. He refreshed his grip on the fluorescent light plastic and pulled himself up the steps. He heard a commotion in the kitchen, recognized his mother's voice, but ignored it. She always wanted him to quit trying his amazing stunts, but she always praised him the best when he pulled them off. The backyard was full of neighbors, as it always was at someone's house in the summer, and most of them were yelling, telling Timmy to get down from that ladder. Don't you dare dive from that. You'll crack your head open. It looked like a murder scene. Okay, so that was the last paragraph. That was the outline for the last paragraph. So when I finish it, I'll let you guys read it.
oh my God.
Terrible.
That's so mean.
I mean, I don't know how to give positive. I mean, yay. Good job.
I really need you to write that last part right now. Like,
Okay.
I love Timmy. I don't want anything bad to happen to Timmy. I take it all back. Everything I said to you about being mean to characters, don't do it in this story.
No, do it.
Oh.
Do it.
Oh,
Do
I
it. Do
see.
it.
Jennifer!
She needs to pull that Band-Aid off. If it
Yes.
means poor Timmy's going down, then poor Timmy is going
We
down.
need a chalk outline on the bottom of the pool. That's what we need.
Well, I'll just satisfy you guys right now. Basically, he slid down the steps on his nose.
Oh,
That's how it ended. So he didn't die, but it just
Oh, man.
But either
he also,
blood,
didn't
so
get
that's
to
good.
pull off, he also didn't get to pull off his amazing stunt.
Nope.
I
That's-
love him and his amazing stunts.
But
Yeah.
that's part of hurting your characters, right? Like that's hurting his ego too. And
Yeah.
like, so I'm very happy that there's blood.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes,
I'm glad I
because
can please
also-
somebody.
we get to learn more about the mother too, because I bet she'll have a response, right? And then
Right. Yes.
we'll learn more about her by how she comes running or not, right? Like what
Mhm.
does she do when Timmy has a faux pas?
Right.
Gigi says, "What, Rhonda? That was really good."
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's dropping her jaw at the cliffhanger. LOL, Jennifer, but he got hurt, so it worked.
Yeah.
Yep.
So encouraging.
Making Rhonda meaner by the episode. This is the goal of
Right.
the Christian Indie Writers Podcast.
My plan
right.
is finally-
That's our goal.
Yes. Well, just for that, you can go second, Jen. You can go next with your story.
All right, so mine is very short too, because which is probably the shortest one I've ever written for the podcast. But the story was over, so I followed
love
Jamie's
that.
rule that when it's over, it's over. So, okay, hold on tight, Jamie yelled over her shoulder. She gripped the handlebar and smiled. This was the perfect weekend. No script, no agenda, just a few friends riding their hogs, cruising the streets of the villages. Are you sure this is safe? Jen yelled over the roar of the engine. There's nothing like it, Tina interjected as she put her helmet on. Just don't smile too much. Don't want to have to pick bugs out of your teeth. I don't know, Jen said with trepidation. How fast do these things go? Quit your belly aching, Rhonda said. It's safer than cliff diving, and that's next on the weekend's agenda. So buckle up, Buttercup, because you're in for a ride. Oh, sweet mercy, Jen said as she wrapped her arms around Jamie's waist and said a little prayer. Dear Lord, please keep us safe on these scooters.
Oh, how I wish we could tell the backstory on that one.
We kind of had. Jamie and I got involved in our podcast messenger, got involved in a little back and forth with memes, gifs about people on scooters and somebody getting like knocked
Yeah.
up into, like it was just
Yes, we were just basically embracing the day when we would need our own, is what we were
Yeah.
doing, Jen, weren't we? We were talking
Yes.
about optimistically. I was going to have mine all decorated. I'm going to have like lights under it and stuff like that. And so we were inspiring each other with people that we found online who had scooters that we liked.
right. So Jamie kind of started off with like Amigos, right? Like the little old like the ones, and I kind of like upgraded it to like a Vespa, and like I'm like, well, you have a golf cart, you don't need any of these. Like it was just this whole like ridiculous conversation, and it
Yes.
showed up in mine.
And I love how you made Rhonda mean.
Oh yeah.
I didn't make her mean. That's how Rhonda talks to me. What are you talking about? Did that not sound like Rhonda? It did
I
not
don't
sound
know.
like
It
I
did
don't-
sound like Rhonda, except
belly
she said
aching.
she said a word that belly aching didn't seem. I thought she might be a little firmer, but
maybe firmer, but like it's kind of an old-fashioned term, and she likes to like coin old like
yes,
also.
yes.
Piper
Okay.
says, "LOL scooters." Oh, I love the bugs in the teeth image. That's something Tina would
Mhm.
say too. She would find something
Absolutely.
like that. Yeah, I think I did good characterizing us. Thank you
Yes,
very
I
much.
think
Yeah.
you did. Yes. hmm
Yeah,
Tina had
well-
the whole scoop.
I
Yeah.
have to admit, I used the word belly aching just
I
last
know.
night. So
Oh, I know you use it. You do. I'm pretty sure you've told me to quit my belly aching before. So,
Oh goodness.
buckle up, Buttercup. I love that. So true about not smiling. Yeah, for sure. Gigi.
Yes. Yeah, Jen. All kinds of praise for you in the chat. Good
It was
job.
just-
I loved it. It was done when it
It was done. Like, if I'd added anything, it would have been. It just was.
Yeah,
meant
it would
to
have
be
ruined the
like that.
punchline.
It would've.
Great punchline.
yep.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Rhonda and I must have had a brain swap today because I actually did get all of the words. I even scrolled back up to make sure I had them, which
Oh.
never happens to me. So
I got
we
all of them
must have-
too in my 149 words.
Yay!
Yep. So like, this
Yeah.
is exciting.
And
Yay,
it did-
Jamie.
They did not feel stuffed in there, Jen.
Thank you. I can't wait to hear yours.
All right, well, here we go. I can't accept this role. The script is awful. Mira threw down the piece of dry toast and scowled at the hard-boiled egg. Somebody get me a piece of cheesecake. She cursed and flipped the breakfast tray from her lap, standing to pace the bedroom. Your robe, Samantha offered, holding out the satin garment, but Mira flicked it away. No, I'm too hot already. You trying to melt me or something? Don't bother because you're not in the will. Not after a breakfast like that. The doctor says you have to watch I'm 73 years old. I'll eat what I darn well choose. The language was milder than Mira liked to use, but Samantha didn't respond well to profanity, and Mira hoped to keep her around longer than the previous 3 assistants she'd burned through. If only she could have brought herself low enough to be kinder to Sebastian, Mira mused, examining her eyebrow arches in the mirror over her double vanity. She huffed, sending a wayward strand of hair flying up out of her line of vision so she could better examine her lash line. Still no new growth. She picked up the tube of serum she'd been talked into buying and flung it into the trash bin. That was $275 lash regrow miracle from Zelle. Samantha's shocked response was just the fuel Mira needed. Well, it's $275 I'll never get back, just like my eyelashes, apparently, and my girlish figure. She looked at the lumpy, misshapen form that had once been a swimsuit model's physique in the full-length mirror mounted to the linen cabinet wall. She minced from side to side as Samantha ran over a list of appointments and expectations for the week. Do we have any fried chicken? Excuse me? Again, the surprised face. What? You don't ever get a hankering for fried chicken? Not at 4:30 in the morning, no, Samantha admitted. There was a knock on the door and Gino came in. Oh, excuse me, he said, flinging a hand to cover his eyes and turning his back to the room. Get over yourself, Gino, Mira said with a wave, but she did slip into the cotton robe she dropped to the floor the day before. Belting it, she asked the young man, what's the word, Bird? Well, I'm leaving now, and I thought you'd want to say goodbye. You mean in case you don't come back from your cliff diving adventure? It's hardly cliff diving. I'm just going to see the Grand Canyon. Did you get extra insurance? Mira asked, patting down the hallway with her 2 assistants in tow. You'll want to add the accidental injury indemnity if you're going cliff diving. For Pete's sake, I'm not going cliff diving. Don't let her get to you. Samantha rolled her eyes as she poured each of them a hot cup of Java from the freshly brewed pot. She knows you're not going cliff diving. Do I? Mira grinned, sipping from her coffee. I think I have a pretty good handle on what it is you young people like to do. You're lucky I don't quit, Gino said, perching clenched fists on hips. Luck schmuck. You love it here at Shea, Mira. Admit it. I certainly do not. The endless teasing is enough to get me medicated for anxiety. Sure, that's the reason you're medicated, Mira said, flicking through a magazine. She stopped on an ad for Princess Cruise Lines. Now there's a vacation, she said, gazing at the picture of Baileys on the postcard stuck to her refrigerator. Just a chilled out couple of weeks floating out to sea, not an ounce of adrenaline in sight. Sounds dull, Samantha said. Agreed. Mira did not think she'd ever heard Gino more empathetic. I don't know what that is. Well, the first adventure we're going to have is to my agent's office, Mira decided, folding the magazine closed. We need to get to the bottom of why I keep getting offered so many terrible roles. No, we need to get to the bottom of your to-do list, Samantha shot back. Your deadlines are coming up and the things we need to have in place are just piling up. Mira sighed. All right, then. Make me a coffee to go and we'll swing by Hot Stacks before Morty's to bring in sandwiches for breakfast. It'll save us time. Then on to your to-dos. I promise. Time's up.
What was that, like 2,000 words?
Yeah.
700 something. I don't know.
In 15 minutes.
It seems like so many more words than that.
So is this finished or you think there's more to come?
Well,
Mira?
it's a finished scene, but I don't know if I'll ever see these people again. It's going onto the pile. It's going onto the pile.
I know it's
in my
hard to
mind,
write.
I see like a merger of this wicked stepmother from Cinderella and Cruella de Vil, like all like merged into one character.
What I see is women's fiction. Like I see like us like really delving into this character and watching her, what she's got going on right now and the craziness that her life is, struggling to hold on to her youth, but looking back at the mistakes she's made and the life that she's led and just how she comes to grips with who she, this could be good. Like I like, because they're engaging, they're fun characters. So it could be a very fun, like kind of fun romp kind of a read kind of a thing, like that you would just take to the beach and read, but yet have something deeper underneath there about aging and about like loving who you are, where you're at. And yeah, that's great. I love, I feel like that's where you were heading with it. Maybe it was just me reading into it, but I loved it.
Thanks.
Yeah, very good.
That's very high praise. I appreciate it. That's why I keep coming back.
I know you can't write a novel on all your sprints.
Piper says, oh my goodness, that was so many words. I don't know what she is about, but 73 is not old, just in case it was in that way. I agree. But when you're in like the spotlight, maybe 73 seems old or feels old, right? But like
well,
if
in
you,
football, 30 is washed up to most people. Tom
Right.
Brady's like, oh, everybody's all impressed that he's as old as he is and still going.
right. Gigi says, Jamie, awesome. What an adorable story,
Aw.
15 minutes. I was so interested in these characters. Me
Oh,
too.
thanks. I appreciate that. It was fun. All right. So we still have to hear Bambinas, Bambinas, Bambinas. Yes. Did you get all 5 words? Do you know?
I did, I think.
Good job.
I feel like we need to explain to people that Bambina is my nickname, and it means little girl. So, anyway, I just Jamie and my mind went in a similar direction, and I think this is a really good example about how somebody can have the same 5 words and the same general idea and have 2 completely different stories.
Ooh, yay.
So. It was a dark and stormy night. Such a cliche. Well, I suppose, thought Christy. Cliches are cliches for a reason. The things the cameramen could do nowadays could make this dark and stormy night the most epic one ever. Not like the Jessica Fletcher ones from the 80s. Funny how things that seemed so cutting edge back then seem cheesy and badly done now.
Mm-hmm.
Christy shook her head to rid her mind of her wandering thoughts and refocused on the script in her hands. She was expected to read the whole thing, even though her part was short-lived, literally. And her only line was an ear-splitting scream as she was being murdered in the first few minutes of the story. Christy sighed. Why did she always end up at these parts? Perhaps she should try not to be so good at screaming. Nobody cared about her acting. Nobody noticed how she'd been taking classes to improve. There were essentially no classes left to take. She needed a break. Her phone rang. The caller ID said it was her agent, Harold. Harold was a greasy-looking old guy, the kind your mama warned you about as a child. She supposed he also was a cliche. Hey, Harold, what's up? She said into her phone. I need you to quit whatever you're doing and get over to Studio 323 ASAP, he said. There was urgency in his voice. Harold never did or said anything urgent in all the years she'd known him. What's up? There's an audition, and if you hurry, I think you're a shoo-in. Christy grabbed her purse and keys and headed out the door, phone still in hand. What's the part? She asked. A sassy Latina detective trying to take a vacation, gets on a cruise to the Greek Isles and ends up in the middle of a murder investigation. Okay, Christy said. What makes me a shoo-in? You're a sassy Latina. And the best part, you won't have any problem doing your own stunts. Stunts? Well, yeah, specifically chasing your suspect over a cliff, Harold said excitedly. Harold never got excited. Okay. Didn't you go cliff diving last summer with your brother in Hawaii? You'll be a natural. Christy sat in the driver's seat, keys into the ignition, a sinking feeling in her gut. Should she tell Harold how she'd been too scared to jump? That her brother had picked her up and thrown her off the cliff and she screamed the whole way down? How she'd landed badly and bruised herself from hip to knee? On my way. Thanks, Harold. You're the best. 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
I love it. And I think this character needs to merge with Jamie's story. And it would be like a dual, like with these 2 different actresses and models. And yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Maybe Mira can be her body double and do the actual cliff diving.
Piper says, "Oh, I can think of so many things done way back when that seem so technically
Yes,
done now."
Bambina,
But
you nailed it. Yeah.
that was awesome. I agree. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks.
Yeah, those old shows from the past, and they had to even their cutscenes of like showing an airplane landing at the airport, and you're just like, oh, it's so bad. But at the time, that was all there was.
And my husband's got like these DVDs of these shows he liked from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's watching, it was a Vietnam one, Tour Duty. And like every time that the helicopters are coming to rescue them, it's the same helicopter. It's like the same cutscene, just like Gina was saying. Like, oh, here comes the helicopter again.
Gigi says, go ahead, Jen.
Tina that was so great getting an inside track on her thought process. Loved it.
Agree.
Thanks.
Very
Do you guys
agree.
remember the show Greatest American Hero?
Yes.
When I
Oh,
was a kid, I loved it. And like, then we found it a couple years ago. We found it somewhere we could watch it. And we're like, oh, so we can set our kids down. Like, this show's so great. And we watched about 20 minutes of the first episode. We're like, oh, sorry. Like, it was that bad. So,
It really was.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
was-
now
Yeah, that's
gonna
so
have
good,
to-
Tina. I really,
Yes.
really honestly enjoyed that. That was fun.
Thank you.
we got 4 great stories and now an earworm of the Greatest American Hero theme
Yep.
song
Oh,
to
yeah.
take us through the I'm walking on air. So free. Yes. All right. So shenanigans abound. Fun. Okay. So why don't you all watching and listening take a crack at today's writing sprint? It will be very good for you, not just to grow your writerly muscles, but also to help you develop a habit. We're talking about habits today, habits for creativity. And if you don't already have a writing sprint habit, you should get yourself 30 days of writing sprint prompts available on Amazon.com. The Christian Indie Writers host, that is us, Tina,
An
Jen, Ron, and
instructional
myself.
workbook to help
Mhm.
you establish a daily writing habit.
It's right there on the cover, folks.
is.
I'm telling you. And there are little essays in here that we took our little time writing and sprints, samples to get you kind of motivated and inspired, and pages for you to do your own sprinting if writing by hand will make you feel more creative. But if you do, share with us. Put it on your blog, spread that manure around. You made this wonderful piece of art. Get it out there to the world because you're a writer. No one will know it if you keep that light under a bushel, right?
True
Okay.
story.
So let us know what you're doing on the socials and what's next and everything for you. Start putting your what's next in the chat because we're going to go around the table and talk about what's next for the podcast, ladies. Tina, what's next for you?
Well, I'm pretty much done with all my pre-development stuff, and I'm ready to start writing book 3 for real, like the real writing.
Wow.
And waiting for my book 2 to come back from the developmental person to see what kind of damage I have to fix for that.
Yeah,
So-
because a lot of your decisions for book 4 are going to depend on what you do in book 3. Because we were talking that you're already getting some inspiration, right?
Yeah, that Memorial Day thing. I'm like, oh, is there a book 4? Or I said a book 1 of the next series? Like, I don't know yet.
Mhm.
And there's somebody that might have to kill in book 2 that I didn't kill, but I think needs to die. So I'm just waiting to see if what I'm thinking lines up with what my person that did my read through is thinking.
All right, but
So-
meanwhile, where can they get your first book and find out more about what you're up to?
Well, you can go to ChristinaCatane.com. There's links there to buy the book anywhere that you buy books. You can find a link for that. And also, I have progress bars. So you can go in there and look at my progress bars for both book 2 and book 3.
That's
Because
exciting.
every day when I get done, I go change my word count.
That's so awesome. What a great idea. And this is happening a lot faster than the first one.
It sure is.
Awesome. What's next for you, Jen?
Well, I am knee deep in editing book 4. And so my goal for book 4 is to be done editing no later than July 31st. So I'm a third of the way through the book. So I think I could easily make that goal because this is my first round of edits. So it takes the longest. And then after this, I'll go back through it again. And then I'll go back through listening to it, read to me. And then I'll go back through and read it out loud before I ever send it off to the editor. So, but I think I can easily be done by the end of July, which I'm looking forward to that because I cannot wait to get back to writing because I am not the kind of talking about creative mindset. Like when I'm editing, I can't also be writing. I can't do it. I've tried it. I know other people like try to split their day in half and I just have not been able to get that rhythm. So I am just full on editing now. And I can't wait to get back to the writing of the new series, which I have pretty much almost all the way outlined for all 4 books. So I'm excited about that.
That's so great. That's so awesome. All right. Piper says her what's next. She's meeting in person tonight with Christian speculative fiction writers from New England. How
That's
awesome.
exciting.
Plus, she's editing her book 3. We all know how awesome that connection can be for people. So good for you, Piper. Awesome. All right. And
That makes me want to move to New England.
Yeah, Bambina likes the get-togethers for sure. I'll do my what's next. I am actually making some serious progress on my novel, which makes me very excited.
Yay.
So anybody who wants to be kept posted on what is going on should sign up for my newsletter. You can get subscribed if you go to www.writingshorts.net. Writing like with a pen and pencil, shorts like you wear, not too short. Not short shorts. Anyway, writingshorts.net is where you can sign up to be informed on when my novel comes out. You can also read free short fiction there that I have posted, and lots of other good gems for you to unearth over there. What's next for you, Rhonda?
Well, I started my 3-scene editing habit last week, and I did a lot better at it than I thought I would. And so this week I'm going to do everything I can to make sure it's 3 scenes a day or something equivalent to it, because I can do it.
And is this project, you're going to do this project on Kindle Vella?
We are still discussing that. The next one that we're going to write is definitely going to be. But yeah, we are still, I think that just for marketing purposes, we're going to try to put this on Vella.
All right. Awesome. And do you have a newsletter somewhere, something you want to plug before we take off for the day?
Well, I'm currently writing my local history museum's newsletter, which will be out on Sunday.
And that still goes in the mail.
In
like
the mail,
with a stamp.
Yes. And mailing
Yes.
labels and such.
Awesome. Okay. So, Piper says she misses supportive writing groups, which this meetup isn't, but she's still excited. Well, yeah. She says we have each other, and we do. And we have you guys too. Every Friday I come here and I feel like I have a virtual writing group. I hope that you all feel like you are a part of ours. So.
And if you're looking for some virtual accountability and some encouragement, Monday through Wednesday, I do live streaming from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern every day. And we have great Christian writers that come in there. Actually, it's kind of a different crowd of people, too, that show up. Teresa also does it, but she's kind of taking a break except for Fridays. So if you are interested, just go to YouTube and Google search my name right here, Jennifer Carl Tong, and come join me. So,
yeah, we can get you connected with some communities. What we're all about. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Do you all think? No. All right. Well, we wrapped it up a little bit short, and we had shenanigans today. What do you think about that? Okay.
awesome.
Well, then I guess this concludes this episode of the Christian Indie Writers Podcast. Until next time, may your pen be prolific, may your deadlines be met, and may all of your words honor Christ. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.